Hello and welcome back to your 13th Django tutorial. Building master code online. In today's tutorial, what we are going to do is add lessons to the bottom of our site here, bottom of our tutorial series detail page, I should say, to be more specific. So, I can't even talk. It's one of those days it's just been pouring all day, and I'm just like, I just want to go lay in bed. But anyhow, let's keep going. What we're going to do is add our lessons down here so the user, when they come to their tutorial series page, they can see what lessons are involved in that tutorial. Alright, so it would be like introduction to, what is this? Introduction to Python. It would be like an introduction lesson, then there'll be another lesson, and there'll be another lesson, so it'll be a list of lessons. So that's our goal in today's tutorial. Alright, one thing I want to point out to you though, I was thinking about this before I started this tutorial, is I never mentioned to you guys that when you build a Django site, it's a very good idea to go ahead and get your templates together before you even bring Django into the picture. And what I mean by that is go ahead and code everything out in HTML, and that's even after you've drawn up the website on a piece of paper or a whiteboard, and then code it out in HTML. Make sure you got everything in order, and then bring Django into the picture. That way, you're not going back and forth and changing things constantly, as you're going to see in this tutorial, because what I did here is I was looking at this and I'm like, oh, we're going to have to change the database now because I want to add more content. And I do this all the time. But in my real life, I shouldn't say real life, this is real life, my everyday job, when I'm developing Django sites, I already get the template from the designer and I know what he's looking for, and then we converse, and then I start with the Django portion of it and start coding it. That way we're on the same level, and I bang out the code, and he already designed his thing, or she already designed her thing, and I bang out the code, and everything works flawlessly in most cases. So anyway, that is just your tip for today. Take that and take it with you wherever you go with your Django experience, because it will make your life so much easier. Now that we're doing everything backwards, just for a learning experience, so you guys can see everything in how it functions. Let's get started here. So let's go ahead and open up our views.py. Alright, so we got a function-based view up here, we got our class-based view down here. We're going to stick with our class-based view, but I'm going to show you how we're going to add lessons into function, just so you guys know. Maybe our next view that we do, we'll do it in function-based view too. I don't know, we'll see what we do next. Anyhow, class-based view. So what we need to do is we want to add a model down here. We want to access a model and add that to our context. So context is a dictionary, so basically we just want to add a key and a value into that dictionary. Alright, so first things first, we need to import the model so we have access to it. So we're going to import the lesson model because that's what we want. And then down here, hit return, and we're going to go ahead and do context. Man, computer wasn't responding there for a second. Square brackets, because we're adding a key into a dictionary. In there is going to be a string, and we're going to call it lessons. And we're going to set this equal to a set of values. So how we query a database in Django is going to be, first we name the model, so lesson, and then we're going to say objects, so we're saying lesson objects, and then we're going to go ahead and get all. Alright. Now, when you get experienced, you're going to learn that you shouldn't get all, because this is going to display all the lessons in the lesson model. Alright. So that's probably not what we're looking for, but let's go ahead and take a look and see what happens. We need a way to display our content here, and it's one of those days. So let's go for lesson, because we called our context lessons, for lesson in lessons. So we need a for loop because we have multiple objects in our context lesson. This should be lessons. There you go. And we're going to end for. Always need to end for. End for. Alright. Then we need to call our variable. So we're going to go ahead and do two curly braces. Whoa. Back there. Anyhow. Two curly braces, and we're going to do lesson, and I believe we called the lesson's name of our lesson title, if I remember correctly. Let's just give it a shot instead of me looking it up. Alright, so we want to go back and refresh our tutorial series page. Do I have an error, or are you just being slow? You are just being slow today. Alright, as you can see, in my lessons I had introduction to machine learning, introduction to Django, introduction to Python. Well, up here, the name of our tutorial series is called Introduction to Python. So, introduction to machine learning and introduction to Django should probably not go here. Introduction to Python probably should, right? So we need a way to go back to our view here. We need a way to go ahead and filter the objects being returned to us, because we only want to display the ones that are have to pertain to our introduction to Python. Alright, so there is a filter function, alright, and what we can do now is filter those objects. We can kind of sort through them and say, hey, we want that one, we don't want that one, we want this one, we don't want that one. And we're going to filter by the name of tutorial series. So we go to tutorial series, and remember this is a foreign key, which is another model, so we got to go from here. So we're going to say tutorial series, and then we're going to go all the way up here and see what we named it. And the name is going to be our what we're looking for. So let's go into our views.py and do tutorials underscore series, and then 2 underscores and name. And then we're going to set that equal to something. And what's the name of our tutorial series? It was Introduction to Python, I believe. Introduction to Python, like that. Go ahead and save that. Go back and refresh your browser. No errors, it's just being slow. Come on, come on. And we come down and we see Introduction to Python. Awesome, that is exactly what we're looking for. Minus one thing. If we go back and look at this, are we going to go, we're going to have multiple tutorials. We're going to have Django, we're going to have Python, we're going to have machine learning, we're going to have all types of stuff, right? So are we going to go back and change this, or write a class-based view for each tutorial series? No, I ain't doing that. I am lazy as hell, and I am not doing that. So how do we make this more dynamic and allow us to not have to go back and write any more code? Well, it's fairly simple what we need to do here. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the content that's up in here and put it down in here. Alright, so we're going to just say self. Alright, self is self of this class up here. Self. And we're going to say period. And then the object. And the object's being returned to us here. Alright. So object. Self.object. Alright. Now let's go back and refresh. Whoa, hold on. Oh, that might work. Hold on, let's see if that works. Doesn't look right, but it should work. It does work. There we go. that works. Or we can actually just take off the dash name. Take that off, make it even shorter and easier to read, and go back and refresh again. Of course. There we go. And refresh, and refresh, and refresh. There we go. Introduction to Python. Pretty cool, right? So now we made it even more dynamic by allowing us to pull in the information that we're already getting, so that makes life a lot easier. Now this looks like crap. It's off to the left. I don't want it to look like crap, so let's go ahead and fix that. Let's go to tutorial series detail, and what we're going to do now is we're going to add some HTML code. First, since it's all the way to the left, if you looked, it's pressing all the way up against the edge of the browser. I don't like that. So let's go ahead and put it in a container, and that will give it some margin on the left and right side. So div class is equal to container, like that. And we'll just take this div, cut it, and throw it down here. Alright, so now if you go back and refresh, there we go. Now we got the padding or the margin on each side. That looks better. But I still don't like how this looks here. It kind of looks like amateur hour. So let's go ahead and improve it a little bit more. Up here, I'm going to use, I'm going to put a unordered list, so UL, and we're going to say class, and we're going to give it a class of list group. And I'm just going to take this stuff here, cut that, put that in here. Whoops, hold on. Hit the wrong button. Get out of here. There we go. And paste it in there. Alright, so now we're in a list group. Now we're going to give it an LI class, or provide an LI with a class. So LI class and equals. And if you guys are wondering where I'm getting this, if you're not sure, this is coming from Bootstrap, by the way. Like I said before, I am not a designer. I have no design skills. And actually, while we're doing this tutorial, the designer I work with just texted me and said, "Hey, we got some work." I didn't know we had any work. But anyway, he wants me to work today, and I'm going to avoid that at all costs. Actually, this LI class is going to have to go on the inside of this for loop. Sorry about that. Start talking and losing track of what I'm doing. So anyhow, we're just adding some design. It's kind of boring, I know, but God, I did it again. Alright, it's getting frustrating. Let's end that LI like that. I'm not going to paste it. And I want to add a span class. Span class here. Span class. See, this is the span class is just a badge that shows a number. You may have seen this before or may not. I'm just going to throw a number in there for now. See, when I went over to Bootstrap to get an idea of what we're going to throw our lessons in, what kind of design, I saw something. I was like, that looks cool. Maybe we can throw in how much time our videos are into there. So now I got more work for you guys. Anyhow, let's go back and refresh. This is what our HTML code should look like now. Should I say? Hopefully it works. Hopefully. And did it work? I don't know. It doesn't look like it worked. So where is my problem? We got container. We got list group. This is a list group. No, that's list group. Then our for loop and a list group item. Then span class badge and span. A tag. LI. Should have worked. but it didn't work. Why didn't you work? I'll refresh one more time. Oh, there we go. Alright, now that's what it should look like. Anyhow, now we got a link here, so you can click on it to go to your lesson, but we didn't set up the link, so it won't do anything. And click on it millions of times, won't do anything. It'll just refresh my page. Anyhow, then over here, 25 is the number we put in there, but I want that to be our how long our video is. So I got some more work for you guys. Let's go into our models.py file, go down to lessons, and we're going to add a new field. After video, let's go ahead and add length. Alright, so models.char field, and this is going to have a max length of, I don't know, 50. And then we're going to say blank is equal to true. Actually, let's not do that yet. I want to show you something. So we'll save it like that. Let's go to our terminal, kill the server, and then go python manage.py, make migrations. Alright, so basically we just created that field, and if you remember, we just put max length in there. Now it comes up and says you're trying to add a non-nullable field length to the lesson without a default. We cannot do that. The database needs something to populate for existing views. Now we can provide a one-off and say, hey, the length of this video is 0. But what happens if we go through and a lesson doesn't have a video? Then we're kind of stuck posting something. So I'm going to say quit. I'm going to use 2 to quit. And this is a reason why I like to use blank is equal to true and null is equal to true. Alright. Now this kind of gets me around having to provide a default value. Now if you wanted these to be required fields, then you wouldn't use these. Then I would suggest adding a one-off, or when you're done in development and you're about to upload, I would remove all these blank equals to true and null equals to true, and when you get to your database, you migrate it and it will work properly. But most of the time, not all the fields are required, so I like to use blank is equal to true and null is equal to true. So let's go make our migrations. Python manage.py make migrations. I'm sorry, make migrations. Alright, so it added the field to our migrations files, and then we're just going to do python manage.py make, or migrate. Damn, I'm all over the place today. Migrate. We are migrating. Alright, it migrated. So now we're just going to do python manage.py run server. And so our lesson that we had working with us was Introduction to Python. So if we open up that lesson, we're going to come down and see a new field called length. Let's say 35 minutes, because that's how long my tutorials have been going. And I do apologize, but I'm trying to teach you guys, give you so much information as possible. So Introduction to Python, cool. Now let's go to our, what am I looking for? Tutorial series detail. And right here we're going to go ahead and put our 2 curly braces for our variable, and then do lesson dot length. We'll save that and go back and here and here. Where is it at? There we go. Refresh it, and you see it gives me 35 minutes. Now, it's kind of hard to read, but maybe we'll adjust that later. But there we go. We made more dynamic content. Now you learned how to change your variables. Now, there's some things that need to be changed here, like if you notice in our models, we got free preview and active. Well, in the next tutorial, we'll go ahead and adjust that so only active lessons are shown, and free preview lessons are the only ones that are clickable. Okay, so in the next tutorial, we'll cover all that and maybe create the detail page for the lessons. If you have any questions, leave a comment on YouTube or shoot me an email. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next tutorial.